Good evening. Today is the 12th of June 2023. We're High and an Addict, and we have another special guest. This is Daniel Foothead. How's it going?
Pretty good.
That's good. Today we just went down and checked out your exhibition that you got going on down on Taranaki Street. A full VR immersive experience. Very cool. You put on the headset and you are immersed in a world.
Does it feel like a world that is familiar to you?
It does actually have a vibe of familiarity. So it's quite comforting. And I feel that, I wouldn't say I saw, I partook in two of the experiences there tonight, and your one was definitely by far more pleasant than the other. I could feel that it was quite relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good. There's definitely an intention.
Yeah.
And making that feel like relaxing and accessible is maybe a word I would use.
Yeah, I would say that it's accessible. Yeah. I like the interaction, how you can see your hands and you can touch things, and then that has an effect. And it took me a while actually for one of them. I was touching, I think it was there's 3 balls there, and I didn't realize that it was actually affecting something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just looking at that one area, and it's not until you actually look back, because you kind of forget that you can look back and you can look up and look all around you, and it's everywhere.
Yeah. And I think when you have your hands in this like other world, that's like becomes like a big focal point. It's like your hands and the things that you can touch, and all of the background starts to kind of, even if it's like crazy and amazing,
Yeah,
it sort of like disappears a little bit from what you're like actually doing.
and I think that was really cool about your one as well, is that you're not holding anything in your hands. You've got the headset on, and you can see your hands right in front of you. And I played around with it a little bit to see how good it was, and it's pretty good. You can, yeah, it's true to feel, obviously.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy that even exists. That you can have that.
Yeah,
and the headset. I remember that feeling of like first experiencing like the hand presence.
Yeah. So how do how do you get that to actually? Is that a program that you have to use to be able to see your hand there? Do you have to program that in, or?
I don't have to program it. Like the Oculus headset, there's particular like plugins that you can get for Unity, which is the game engine.
Yep.
And so you can kind of bring in this whole like character that you can like place in the world, and all of those settings are kind of like there to play with.
Cool.
And so like, yeah, you have this like stand-in for the person that's using it, and you can kind of decide like whether it's going to be controllers or whether they can use their hands.
Yeah.
And then you can change like textures, and
cool.
there's probably all sorts of other stuff you could do with it if my programming understanding was more, then you could like turn the hands into tentacles or like other kinds of hands, or have like different reactions like happening.
Yeah. Well, you had different coloured.
Yeah.
Like
which is like that's fairly easy to do, because that's just changing like an all over texture.
Yeah.
But it would be so cool. There was someone that tried it last night who is a lecturer at Vic who is teaching students how to do VR stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
And he was talking about how it'd be cool if like as your hands got closer to something that was interactable, they kind of started to like change colour or like glow like down like the tips of your fingers and stuff. Like, so the closer you got, you could get this feeling that something was about to happen, or like something like could happen. It's like different like anticipation.
Yeah. I'm sure you could do that. Just somehow you got to figure it out.
Like millions of different things. The hardest part is like deciding what to do, because there's so many like options.
Yeah.
possibilities.
And I guess you can get caught up on
Yeah,
on, like the smallest little detail and spend
Yeah.
so long trying to figure that out.
just on like
Yeah.
touching a thing,
Yeah.
which like we just do all
Yeah.
the time, all day long.
Yeah.
So it's like interesting how it makes you think about what's
Those
important
things.
from those interactions, or like what's interesting about actually using your hands to do things.
Because I guess we just take it for granted, right? We just use our hands and don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And like you can put all this stuff into the world, like you could pick up anything or
Yeah.
change anything, but is it fun to do and is it easy to do? And I just wanted to keep it like very like as simple as possible so that anyone can just like jump in and have fun like getting a response out of things.
Yeah. No, it was very cool. So do they you said there was someone from Victoria there. So do they teach like a class?
I guess
In
so,
like
yeah.
the,
I don't know if that's at the design school or if Victoria have some kind of like game design papers or something.
Yeah.
But like I went to media design school in Auckland to learn the stuff that I'm doing now, and that was I did some classes that were part of like a full game design bachelor.
Okay.
So there's like people can go now and do like 3-year degree just learning how to make video games.
Wow.
And it's like a pretty crazy degree.
Yeah.
You learn a lot of stuff.
That's very cool. So how long did you study for that?
I just went back for a year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like it's called the Graduate Diploma of Creative Technologies.
Okay.
And for 6 months they put you into classes so that you can like get some new skills. And then the second 6 months you just do like a research project and a major project. And so the experience that you tried today was kind of my major project. Like I did a prototype for that, which like didn't look quite as like pretty.
Yeah.
But it had like a lot of the same like functionality.
Yeah, cool.
Because most of the work is like in like the interactive parts, like working out how to code, how to like set those up so that they work.
Yeah.
And then the aesthetic bit like comes later.
Yeah. I guess that's what most of it is, isn't it? Doing the back end of it, and you can just make it look pretty.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of work and just like deciding like what you're gonna do with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you reckon that one today you're happy with that? Or like that's are you gonna keep working on that one? Expand on that?
Sort of. I mean, I think anything else I do will be some expansion on that. Like I don't know if I'm like ever that happy with almost like anything completely, because there's like always more that you
can always build
can
on
do,
it.
Yeah. And like that you could finesse things like
Yeah.
and that thing that I've made like for
Forever.
Yeah, if you didn't have a deadline you could just keep.
Yeah. And I guess you just keep adding to things though as well, right? And that you just learn as you go, so you can. Yeah.
And I think it's good to like put like a stopping point on a project, and like that's done, and then like I might have like tons of other ideas, but having a fresh start and like rebooting something's like pretty nice. And there's so many things that I built in that one you tried today that like now I have all these tools to bring into something else, and I know how to do a bunch of different things that I think like, you know, I've only just found the early stages of some of those interactions. Yeah. Because you have these things that are sort of like musical instruments, and almost like half the people that try it like come out being like, I love the musical kind of instrument component, and I'd love for that to like be a bit like bigger, or there's like more things you can play. Or
so, well, I guess you're only limited to your imagination, but you could make in a way your own kind of crazy piano, right?
Yeah.
And you could be in there and you could be like have these crazy keys and different sounds and
And you can't. I mean, you can already like get like a whole music studio on VR in like a space. So like, I guess I'm like interested in like how can you do that in a way that isn't just something that you could do in real life that feels like quite different from just playing a piano or something.
Well, I guess why would you do something in VR that you can just do in real life? Like, isn't the whole premise behind it to experience something that you couldn't experience in real life?
Sort of. I don't know. I mean, I think
or do people? Yeah,
I think a lot of people get excited about things that you can do in real life because maybe they don't like have access to those things, or it feels harder for them to.
Well, yeah,
I'm do that, or like I don't know, like, but I myself I'm interested in like,
but I'm talking about
making something that like, you just like can't you can't see
you
or
can't
feel or do like normally.
But like you could just make a piano in there and be like, oh look, I'm playing the piano in a VR world with my hands. It's like, but you could just play the normal piano.
Yeah,
you know? Like you could make it some crazy instrument that I don't know. It's like pulling dragon's teeth or something. I don't know.
yeah. Well, like I mean, those worlds are kind of like coral reefs or like little like biological like microscopic places or like, so it's like, what do objects sound like in those worlds? Like it could be like a little bit different from just like playing an instrument. But I think having something that is a little bit like the way you would construct songs, like if you could get some things looping. Working with like a sound designer on something would be really cool. Fun because then they could kind of bring that other part to it where the sound could be more malleable and kind of fit the purpose like in a different way.
Well, maybe you should bring on a sound guy.
I would love to. Just gotta get a little bit of dollars so that I can pay someone to get involved.
Yeah. Very cool.
But that would be fun. Because it's such a big part of, I think, the feeling of it is the audio.
Yep. Well, I think the headset, your headset that we had on today, the way in which the sound, because right now we're wearing headphones, and then the other one they had headphones on, but the headset that you had like the little speaker, so it felt really natural, and it didn't feel like you got something in your ear or over your ear. And I think that there also heightened the experience, made it more enjoyable.
Yeah, because you didn't feel like
it's not so claustrophobic, like kind of.
Yeah,
you got not like you're wearing a full face mask. You just got something over your eyes, and the rest of your ears feel free. And I think that I definitely like that. The experience of that, the sound and the visuals through that way.
Yeah, it's good when it's comfortable.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Okay. So also on my weekly vlog, I normally talk about a book that I'm reading, and I like to read multiple books. So I haven't necessarily finished the book. This one here, this is called 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. Basically, they're kind of saying that we've got 4,000 weeks in our lives. I think it's the average. If you live to like 80 or something like that. And it talks about, I think it's this book. Actually, there's a few on the go that I get them mixed up. But like dedicating your time to things that you enjoy. Because, people are like, oh, I've got to go home and clean the bathroom or, mop the floors. And it's like, yeah, that probably does have to be done. But it's always going to be there, and why don't you spend your time doing something that you actually want to be doing? And I'm trying to invoke that into my own life, and not spend so much time doing stuff that I don't want to do, and spend time that I do want to do. Because at the end of the day, you're better to do something that you enjoy doing, because you've only got a finite amount of time. But I'm quite enjoying this book.
So
Yeah.
That means that you're dedicating your time to that book.
Yeah,
You're
well,
enjoying it.
I am, and I actually, I dedicate a whole lot of my time to reading now because I enjoy that medium of consuming stuff. I've like basically deleted like lots of the social media off my phone. Every now and again, I'll go back on and have a look, but because I don't get anything from it. I'll be like sit there and I'll scroll through whatever. I'm like I'm just over this, and so I've gotten rid of that, and I'd rather sit down and read a book and learn something, and then come up here.
It just feels like the quality of what you're like imbibing is
Yep.
a bit,
Well,
a
someone's
bit
put
nicer.
an effort into actually writing the book, and going through the whole process of it, getting someone to edit it, proofing it, bloody, physically making it into a book, and then distributing it, and then and I really enjoy going to the bookstore and actually looking through books, and one thing that I have noticed that in Wellington is when I go to the bookstore, it's one of the busiest stores in the city.
RDB?
RDB's not so busy, but Unity Books on Willis Street, it's probably because it's the central location. But if you go down there at lunchtime, there's like 50 plus people in this one store.
It's a good one.
And and there's helicopters overhead there. I don't know. I love going to the bookstore, love reading books, and I dedicate my time now to doing that, which I think is, for me, I find enjoyable because I get a lot more out of that than sitting there seeing some pictures of some fucking person doing something that I don't really give a shit about. And that's me consciously using my time in a way that I want. And coming up here and talking to nobody or talking to you today. I think I get 10 views on my videos, double digits. And
it's a quality 10 though, probably.
Yeah, well, it's just my friends. Actually, one of them, Smokey Joe, what up? He is a friend that lives in Thailand now, and we've been friends since high school. And I think he's my only subscriber.
Yeah.
But for him, he must love it because he gets to see his friends. I haven't seen him for like over 10 plus years. And I, say what's up. Hey, what's up?
Direct download.
Yeah. I sent it to another one of my friends, and he was like, dude, it's just like having a fucking conversation with you, bro. I don't need to watch that shit. I'm like, okay, bro, thanks, man. But yeah, I'm not actually doing it for anyone else. I'm just doing it because I wanted to try and fucking be more creative and do more good things in my own life. And I was like, I'm going to try and record it and kind of hold myself accountable, and then be able to look back on it and be like, okay, what have you done? I normally update about what I've done this last week. In the weekend, Tessa and I did a jewellery making course down on Abel Smith Street. So we went down, and I'll put a picture up here with my editing skills. There's my silver ring, which is just a silver ring, but I cut out the letter T with a drill and a hacksaw. And then also we practiced on a piece of copper first, so just made a ring. But we got, I got a feather, and then put the feather on the piece of copper and run it through kind of like a press, and then the feather imprinted onto the piece of copper.
Oh wow!
And then made that into a ring.
It's like hard enough to like.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's pretty crazy. And so that's a little copper ring with a feather imprinted on it, which is pretty cool. And that's what I did on the weekend. That was my one creative thing for the week. And now I'm sitting up here talking to Foothead. Yeah. And I got to experience your creative.
I just want to say that it feels yeah, it's quite nice to like have you come and experience that new world, like that new zone that you can enter into, because you're someone who's like been in my life since I had like early days of drawing and starting to
Oh.
get into that art practice.
Yeah.
And you're like this. I think you're like a bit of a custodian of some of my older pieces.
You've got a piece over there in the corner there.
This one's sitting right over here. Yeah, it feels like quite special.
Inspiration. Be creative and do things that you love. And that's why I appreciate it tonight. Having a beer and cheers with our pineapple beer. Cheers.
Is it beer?
No, it's not.
Yeah,
They call
no, I
it a
don't
beer
think
though.
so. It's like drinking a fruit juice.
I know. It's good, eh? Only $1.49 from the Asian store. Shout out to Nyang's. Okay, sweet. Hey, it's good having a catch up. Until next time. We'll have to get you on the show again. We might have more viewers now.
Next drop.
Okay. Oh, it's good.